Hello, I'm Joshua Walker, President and CEO of Japan Society. I am so excited for our conversation today with His Excellency Ambassador Shigeo Yamada. Now, Ambassador Yamada is a good friend to many of us, and he's no stranger to Washington, calling it his second home. This is his third time back, this time as ambassador when he arrived December, right on the eve of the official state visit of Prime Minister Kishida that we're going to talk about today, along with the vibrancy, the strength, and his hopes for U.S.-Japan relations in the year ahead. Ambassador Yamada, thank you so much for your time. We are really honored to hear from you. I think that many people know that you've arrived at a particularly important moment in U.S.-Japan relations. We're eagerly anticipating, and we're on the eve of the official visit of Prime Minister Kishida this spring. You've held a lot of significant posts at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and you're no stranger to Washington. So can you tell us, in your view, the most significant and promising changes you've seen as we anticipate this visit that I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk much more about?
I arrived in Washington, D.C. just about 3 months ago. And as you know, this is not my first time to be in Washington. This is my third time. But I think I'm very fortunate because I arrived a time when Japan-U.S. relationship is stronger than ever. I strongly feel that this relationship has evolved from a relationship focused on bilateral issues to now a true global partnership working on common challenges. And this strong partnership between our two countries is based on the trust built through years of interactions between Japanese people and American people, through such exchanges as business partnerships, academic exchanges, and grassroots exchanges.
It's an election year in our country, and it's something that's focused a lot of attention. As ambassador, you have to deal with the different domestic constituency, the stakeholders, but also you have to focus on the strength of the U.S.-Japan relationship that you just said is stronger than ever. So in a year like this, on the eve of the Prime Minister's visit for the official visit, what is the area of focus globally that you think the U.S.-Japan relationship will be focused on?
As you said, we face many challenges together in international community. And the first issue I discuss quite often with people in Washington, D.C. is Russia's aggression against Ukraine. It is a clear violation of the fundamental principles of international order, and it should never be permitted. And Prime Minister Kishida felt a strong sense of crisis that Ukraine may be the East Asia tomorrow, and responded very firmly to the aggression by imposing sanctions against Russia and providing strong support for Ukraine. As you know, Japan has committed more than $12 billion of assistance to Ukraine. And in addition to that, Japan is contributing $64 million worth of military equipment through European Union's fund and providing such materials as anti-UAV equipment. I believe, and I tell everyone I meet here in Washington, D.C., that international community must continue to be united in supporting the efforts of the Ukrainian people to defend themselves. In addition to supporting their efforts to defend themselves, we have to work with the Ukrainians to rebuild their country and their economy. And recently, in February, Japan hosted a Japan-Ukraine bilateral conference for promotion of economic growth and reconstruction, with participation from private sectors of both countries. There's a strong interest among Japanese private sector to work with Ukrainian companies, and 56 joint documents were signed at that conference. But in addition to situation in Ukraine, we also have to work together as global partners on many other challenges, including the situation in Gaza and Middle East, and increasingly severe security situation in East Asia, and also strengthening our cooperation with the countries, so-called global South countries. You also mentioned that this year is the year of US presidential election. Yes, I'm following the campaign with great interest. But at the same time, I'm very glad to see that there is a strong bipartisan support for the Japan-US alliance. So whatever the outcome of the election, I'm convinced that our bilateral relationship will continue to be strengthened in the coming years.
Thank you. So we're on the eve of Prime Minister Kishida's visit to Washington, which will be his first as an official visit. Given that you've been at the Foreign Ministry and seen many of these official visits before, what do you think the key message, the key area of focus will be in the US-Japan relationship as a result of this official visit coming up?
As you said, Prime Minister Kishida will make an official visit on April the 10th. This will be the first Japanese Prime Minister's official visit since 2015, when Prime Minister Abe came to Washington, D.C. And the international situation or the environment has changed dramatically since Prime Minister Abe's visit. And accordingly, Japan-US relationship has evolved to meet those challenges together as global partners based on trust. So in this new environment, I hope that the Prime Minister's visit will demonstrate to the people in the United States, the people of Japan, and also the entire international community that Japan-US relationship is a strong global partnership now based on the trust between our two peoples. I hope that the Prime Minister's visit can emphasize that our work together is work together for the future. I expect the visit will shed light on our future-oriented cooperation in such fields as space, AI, quantum computing, and clean energy technology, and so forth.
You talked about the relationship of our countries, our society. As you know, Japan society specializes in grassroots exchange since our founding in 1907. How important is grassroots exchange and keeping strength at the society level, even beyond Washington and the political level that often you have to focus on?
I am a strong believer in the power of people-to-people exchanges. Talking about my personal experience, about 15 years ago, I was posted in Beijing as minister in charge of cultural affairs and people-to-people exchanges. And there I witnessed firsthand the huge impact people-to-people exchanges can make on people, especially young people. So I commend Japan society for your work in promoting people-to-people exchanges. I believe nothing is more impactful than actual interaction between peoples. And there is a long tradition of very strong, vibrant people-to-people exchanges between Japan and the United States. Business partnerships, academic exchanges, sister city exchanges, and various other types of grassroots exchanges. And those people-to-people exchanges have nurtured a strong sense of trust between our two peoples. And that strong sense of trust is the firm basis on which we are building the strong bilateral relationship. So one of my important tasks as ambassador is to meet as many people as possible, not only here in Washington, D.C., as you said, but throughout the country, to further expand the network of that kind of people-to-people exchanges. I very much look forward to visiting various regions in this country. But One point I would like to mention is after I arrived in Washington, D.C., I realized again the work and the role Japanese companies are playing in our bilateral relationship. As you know, Japan is the largest foreign investor in the United States, creating 1 million jobs. And those Japanese companies operate with American workers, contribute to their local communities, and work closely with local governments. And whenever I meet with members of Congress or the leadership from the region, I feel strongly that Japanese companies' operations in this country is an important pillar for building strong trust between two people and creating a strong basis for our bilateral relationship. So finally, I would like to express my sincere respect and appreciation to, of course, first, Japan Society for your work, and also all the Japanese companies and Japanese residents in this country, and everybody else who are involved in people-to-people exchanges between our two countries. Because without your work, without your role, we cannot build stable and strong bilateral relationship.
Well, thank you very much. I think to have a champion of people-to-people diplomacy sitting in Washington and having a long career that has been built on building that relationship. I often use the Japanese word Kizuna because that word to me signifies something beyond a transactional connection. And I really appreciate your focus on the people-to-people, the business investment, and the importance of connecting the dots of the policy community. So let me ask you a question there in Washington. As you said, this is your second home. What are you enjoying most about your return to Washington and your life there in Washington now? Maybe you have a bigger house than you've had before, but what do you enjoy the most about coming back to Washington?
As you said, I very much feel like coming back to my second home. And, literally, Washington, D.C. is a place I spend more time than any other place, except for my hometown, Tokyo. So this is really my second home. I like outdoor activities, running, hiking, and climbing mountains. The last time I was here, I participated in many running events, such as marathons and half marathons and so forth. I don't know how much time I can spend on running this time around, but I hope I can find enough time to train myself again and participate in major events like, yes, in New York City Marathon, or Boston Marathon, or other, famous major events in this country.
At a moment in which Japan is more popular than ever in the United States, how do we take that energy and excitement for Japan and translate it into the US-Japan relationship?
As you mentioned, Major League Baseball is a hot topic in both countries, Japan, the United States, and similarly, Japanese cinema, animation. Many people, after I came here in Washington, D.C., talking about their memories, good memories of visiting Japan. This year is Japan-US tourism year. I hope more and more American people will have chance to visit Japan and understand Japan more with their own eyes. That sort of exposure to Japan in various ways, through trips or through watching Japanese baseball players play, I think that kind of exposure to Japan make people feel comfortable working closely with Japanese people. Again, creating a very strong basis on which we can build strong and stable government-to-government relationship. So I very much welcome more American people and similarly more Japanese people expose themselves to each other, each other's cultures, so that they can deepen their understanding of other countries and creating a momentum, further momentum to strengthen our relationship, not only between peoples, between companies, and between governments.
Well, we will look forward to hosting you in New York, hopefully not right after the New York Marathon, because that would be very tiring. But thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. It's been very nice to talk to you.